Welcome back, guys, to round 7 from the Indiana Regional Championship. I am Pooka, and with me I have Nathan Heider on the left and Joel Moskow on the right. Both of these players are undefeated at this point, 6-0, so we should see a pretty nice matchup here. Looks like Joel's going to be going first. We've already featured Joel, actually, a couple times. Once in this tournament and a couple times before in a battle road that I went to where he ended up winning the event. So he's going to be using a straight Darkrai, Sableye, Crushing Hammer deck against Nathan, who is using a Darkrai Hydreigon deck, as you can see by that nice little dino there. I don't actually know a whole lot about Nathan, but he is a pretty solid player for what I've seen, and we should be seeing some good stuff from both guys here. So Joel is going first, which of course is a huge advantage. There are no drawbacks to going first. And I actually think this is a major turning point in this sort of a matchup where the Hydreigon deck really wants to go first because you get the first chance to evolve. Now, I mean, just think if he goes first, there's no chance he gets attacked turn 1, really. A turn 1 Night Spear is nearly impossible at this point. So you get to survive that first turn. You basically just get a turn where there's absolutely no pressure, and you get to try to evolve turn 2. Even if you don't evolve turn 2 Night Spear is also pretty difficult. So you pretty much get 2 turns to evolve freely, whereas now you only get really 1 turn to evolve. So you get a small window to evolve your Pokemon. Now it looks like Joel is going to retreat to his Sableye. He's got an energy switch, so he will be able to use Junk Hunt if he wants to. I would assume he'll want to do something like that because Confuse Ring, a dino for 10 really doesn't do much, and yep, he just retreats, energy switches, Junk Hunts for it, and passes. Now, I'm not too sure if that makes that big of a difference. I mean, yes, he has the Sableye active now instead of the Darkrai, but I guess all I'm saying is it might have been better to just retreat and pass. You know, if you're not going to make that worthwhile, then just save your energy switch, pass. You want the energy on the Darkrai, I would think, not the Sableye. And Nathan's going to end here. But what do I know? You need to get an energy on your Sableye to retreat anyway in order to attack with Darkrai. So, makes absolutely no difference. At least I don't think so. So Nathan immediately plays an N. No other cards. So we'll see what he can do here. If he doesn't get another basic, there's a small chance he could get Night Speared and lose the game. But I don't think that's happening. We're going to have him, let's see. He's got a Sableye in his hand. Probably going to want to bench that. And then if he's got an energy, he's going to rewind. He's going to want to use Deep Growl to try to paralyze that Sableye. If you flip heads, you get to paralyze. But it looks like he doesn't have an energy, just a catcher, and he's going to pass the turn, it looks like, with that Darkrai active. I do like that catcher there. Nathan understands. Alright, it's going to be pretty impossible for Joel to get a Night Spear off. He's going to need energy switch. He's going to need to put some energy in the discard pile, get a Dark Patch, and another energy switch, and then attach. Not going to happen. If it does, you curse your luck and move on. But Joel, he's going to random receiver, gets a Juniper from that. So, might be able to get some dark in the discard pile here. And we'll see what happens from there. We're probably not going to see a turn 2 Night Spear at this point. I feel like in this matchup, if you're going first, you want to get a turn, or you want to shoot for a turn 3 Night Spear, because you get to go first. You get to do everything first. Whereas if you go second, you want to shoot for a turn 2 Night Spear, because it's effectively the same thing. Your opponent gets the same amount of turns before you get to Night Spear. So Joel is going to be very comfortable getting a turn 3 Night Spear. If he can pull that off, he should be able to. I mean, he Junipered away a Dark and a Dark Patch. He plays Energy Switch as well, so this won't be too difficult for him, I don't think. I assume he'll spend the turn retreating and using Junk Hunt to get back that Dark Patch, and then he'll go from there. You know, Joel's deck is as straightforward as it gets, just Darkrai, Sableye, Night Spear my way to victory. He puts down another Darkrai, which I'm not too fond of. That could give Nathan another turn to catcher and stall. If Joel can't get the right cards to retreat it and then still power up his other Darkrai. So I'm not sure how I feel about that one, but he's definitely going to have to retreat. And then we will see a junk hunt for 2 items. See which ones he gets. I know one will be a dark patch for sure. And oh, he's got another dark patch, so that is going to make it pretty much sure he'll get the turn 3 Night Spear. And let's see what else he grabs. I know one's going to be a dark patch. But what else? What else does Joel actually have in his hand? Nathan's just going to take a look. And at this point, you know, Nathan's just got to be feeling a little bit of pressure. But this matchup is very strange. The Darkrai deck really just needs to take out the Hydreigon from play. If he can manage to do that before Nathan sets up, then it's pretty straightforward. I mean, Joel's just going to win. And oh, turn 2, Rare Candy Hydreigon. That's perfect for Nathan. That's exactly what you want. He's going to play another N. The only problem for him is he has no energy here, so Joel's going to be able to get some hits in on it before Nathan can really get anything going. You know, this is the other problem. Even though you can get a quick Hydreigon out there, if you don't have the energy to attack or you don't have the max potions to heal it, you can still fall victim to a quick Darkrai. But plenty of things can happen here. I mean, we don't know what kind of stuff Nathan plays. We'll find out. And it's going to be a long game no matter what. Once you get that Hydreigon out there, this game's going to take a while unless he just completely draws dead from here. Now, ideally, Nathan would get an Ultra Ball this turn, or a Darkrai, so that he could attach, retreat, and then maybe Junk Hunt. But it does not look like he has any of that. He's just going to attach and pass. And this is where things can start to get a little bit scary. You know, he gets Night Speared this turn, 90-30, and then all of a sudden, his Hydreigon's in trouble being knocked out. He's got 30 damage sitting on a Sableye that he doesn't really want to have happen. And he's in all sorts of trouble. You know, it's going to put on a lot of pressure. It's going to force him to have a lot of cards to make up for his poor situation. And Joel's just going to keep pressure on with Night Spear. Now, Joel also plays Crushing Hammer and Enhanced Hammer, I believe. So some energy removals here and there are going to hurt if he can flip some heads. This turn he'll definitely get a Night Spear. But he's just trying to figure out what the best way is to go about it. It looks like he's going to Ultra Ball, discarding a Max Potion and a Dark. So Joel also plays Max Potion, which is an interesting twist on this deck. It allows you to maybe prevent your opponent from getting some big prizes. Maybe even the playing field a little bit against this Hydreigon deck. And it's actually really going to help him a lot in this matchup. So he's going to grab a third Darkrai, just put that down there. Well, you should see him play a Dark Patch, and we'll see if he has a supporter as well. So right now, I gotta say, I'm liking Joel's spot. He's gonna get the first Night Spear. Nathan's only got 1 energy out there. He doesn't have a Darkrai yet. But you never know how big of a comeback this Hydreigon deck can make. It's with Max Potion, moving your energy around, Shaman EX, all of this stuff, it becomes so easy to just start making huge comebacks. You know, you just do big damage with all these Pokemon. You heal off the big damage that your opponent's doing, and then you go from there. Now, Joel is going to catcher out Sableye and just take the cheap prize. I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I think I would rather just hit for 90 there. Force your opponent to have a Max Potion if they want that thing to survive. But you can also take the prize there. Take away the Junk Hunt option from your opponent, which is also really nice. Usually I'm in favor of holding on to your catchers for as long as possible, but in that situation, I can see it being okay. Now, Nathan, unfortunately, does not have much in his hand. He's got no supporter from what I can see. So he's going to just bench a Darkrai and attach. He should probably just pass from there. I think if I were Nathan there, I would actually just not even bench the Darkrai to begin with. Now you're opening yourself up to Night Spear doing damage to 2 of your Pokemon. You gotta think that Joel cannot knock out this Hydreigon. I mean, it's scary when you only got 1 out there. But I would just attach the second energy to Hydreigon and pass without benching the Darkrai. Because that way the only thing taking damage is your Hydreigon. And you're going to show Joel that, oh, I don't really have a good hand, so why would you ever end me? And you're going to hold on to the Max Potion for next turn. And you're going to heal off all the damage from your Pokemon, as opposed to, you know, having 30 on a Darkrai, which could end up being big. Here's a Crushing Hammer from Joel. That's Tails. That would have been a big flip. That would have prevented Nathan from using Night Spear the following turn. But let's see where Joel can go from here. If he has a catcher, I wonder if he would play it. I actually think you would here. To soften up the Darkrai and put 60 onto the Hydreigon. You put them in the awkward position where they have 2 things in Night Spear knockout range. But it looks like he doesn't have one. He doesn't have a supporter either. And Nathan, he's going to start to maybe make a comeback here. Now he's got that Max Potion. He's going to need to play it this turn on that Hydreigon, or else he is done for. It's going to get knocked out by 30 from Night Spear. So he needs to play that this turn, and he recognizes that. He's probably just going to retreat, move his energy around with Dark Trance, retreat for free with Dark Cloak, move the energy back up with Dark Trance, and Night Spear. Now the Eviolite on Joel's Darkrai is very, very big here. It turns Night Spear from a 2-hit knockout, 90 and 90, to a 3-hit knockout, 70, 70, 70. So that's just going to be the key here. The Eviolite really evens the score, where you're like, okay, he has Hydreigon, he can move his energy around in Max Potion. How can I make my Darkrai survive? And that's through Eviolite. So even though it takes you forever to knock out Darkrai's, it also takes them forever to knock out yours because you're reducing the damage by so much. And we see a Max Potion on Joel's bench Darkrai. Interesting that he would go ahead and use that in this situation, but we know he plays at least 2 now. So that's a card that might come in handy here. He's going to attach to a bench Darkrai. He did draw a Cheren this turn, but here's just a Night Spear. He's going to do 90 and 30 to that Hydreigon, so there's 60 left on the Darkrai, and 120 left on the Hydreigon. Now this turn Nathan could actually take a knockout. He has the Blend in hand. And he can just retreat and Dragon Blast for the 2-prize knockout. It's going to force Joel to have some cards to get another Night Spear next turn. And it's really all he can do. You know, any other play just results in him getting pummeled by Night Spear. Hydreigon can at least survive. He's going to be discarding 2 energy, but this will get him 2 prizes, maybe get some resources into his hand, and take Joel's attacker out of play. So I do like that. See what he gets. Looks like a Bouffalant and a catcher. Probably not what he wanted to get here. And now let's see what Joel does. Draws another Cheren. Maybe he'll play that here first. Alright, he gets a Dark Patch, so as long as Joel can Night Spear, I think he's going to be in a great situation. Just softening up this Hydreigon and then putting 30 somewhere else. He's going to Juniper, actually, so he'll get a fresh hand of 7. I do like Juniper in that situation as opposed to Cheren, because you really need to get an energy here. And honestly, you probably want an Eviolite as well. And wow, Joel has a 3rd Max Potion in his hand. So he plays a lot of those, apparently. He doesn't even care about discarding his energy. He's just saying, you know what, I'll just Dark Patch him back. Or I'll Energy Switch first. Interesting twist on this deck. We don't see too many healing cards in most decks besides Hydreigon. Sometimes Electric. But Max Potion in straight Darkrai I don't see too often. I'm sure that's helped him out a lot through this tournament so far. But now, Joel, he's got an Ultra Ball. I guess he'll just thin out his deck a little bit. Discard a couple useless cards. He's going to discard a Sableye and a Random Receiver. I like that Joel is not benching that Sableye, because it would give Nathan 2 easy targets for knockouts. You know, if Nathan knocks out a Sableye at this point, it does not progress his path to winning. He'll go down to 3 prizes, but he still needs to knock out 2 Darkrai's to win the game. So if you bench that other Sableye, you allow Nathan to knock out 2 cheap 7 hit point Pokemon, and then just 1 Darkrai to win the game. So benching these things is very important. You need to look out for that when you're using this kind of a deck. And here comes Joel. He's going to go with this Darkrai, and he's going to be able to Night Spear this turn. It's got to be frustrating that he hasn't been able to remove any energy at this point. If he could have an Enhanced Hammer here, he could discard the blend, or if he could hit a heads on a Crushing Hammer, that would actually change the entire outcome if he hit that heads on Crushing Hammer a couple turns ago. Nathan wouldn't have been able to do any of these attacks, and Joel would still have a Darkrai fully powered, and Nathan would probably just be done right now. But Joel is going to decide to Night Spear and hit the Hydreigon, and then the Darkrai for 30. I'm not sure how I feel about hitting that Darkrai for 30. I would probably go for the Dino, just because if he doesn't evolve the Dino this turn, then you're going to get a double knockout on the Hydreigons, and then that's pretty much game over. But the 30 on the Darkrai sets up a triple prize turn, and even if you don't get the triple prize turn, you get to do 30 and knock out a Darkrai for 2 cheap prizes. So I can see that play either way. This one's probably going to work out better for Joel because Nathan has a rare candy and a Hydreigon right there. And let's see. Now Nathan, he had an interesting choice there. I mean, I don't know what items he's gone through at this point, but he had an Ultra Ball. He could have discarded a few resources there and then just retreated to Sableye if he used the Ultra Ball for it, and then used Junk Hunt to get some stuff back and maybe start to recover here. Kind of puzzling that he wouldn't do that. I guess it's a big risk if you have to discard your stuff and then you don't get the rare candy into a Hydreigon. Joel could catch her out the Dino and then take a double knockout on both those things, and then you just kind of end up losing. But we'll see what Nathan decides to do here. There's really no good decision here for him. If he leaves his Hydreigon active, Joel just takes 3 prizes, knocking out both of those things. If he retreats to Bouffalant, then his Bouffalant gets hit and then something gets knocked out. But no matter what he does, he's going to be in some trouble. Now Joel gets a big heads on Crushing Hammer. He's going to discard the blend, it looks like. So maybe that might be an indicator that he does not run Enhanced Hammer. Because usually you would just discard all the basic energy because you know you can discard the special ones with Enhanced Hammer. But getting rid of that blend in general is going to be a big move. It'll prevent stuff like Dragon Blast, Shaman's Revenge Blast, and yeah, just like the alternate attacks that Nathan would like to use. And also that Crushing Hammer will prevent Nathan from using any relevant attack next turn. Because he doesn't have anything in his hand. He only has 1 energy in play. It takes 3 to use Gold Breaker with Bouffalant. It takes 3 to use Night Spear. It takes 4 to use Dragon Blast. And right now, Joel is just taking command of this game. He's going to take 3 prizes. He'll go down to 2. He's going to have no damage on his Darkrai's. Nathan's still got 4 prizes to go. He's got the Hydreigon out there, but only 1 energy. He doesn't have any cards in his hand besides an Ultra Ball. And right here, Joel is just taking the lead. And what is Nathan going to do here to try to come back? He's going to send up the Bouffalant, which is actually a super good card against Darkrai. This is a card we've seen a little bit more often. The Boofer ability makes Darkrai not as potent against it because it prevents the damage from Night Spear on the bench. And Gold Breaker, it's going to knock out a Darkrai in 2 hits no matter what. Eviolite does not matter. So now Joel, he can just Night Spear this Hydreigon. If he has a catcher, I would certainly save it for a later time. Just focus on knocking out the Hydreigon. Nathan doesn't have anything at this point, and there's nothing he can really do. Maybe you can catcher just to soften up what would be Nathan's only real attacker. You can do 70, 30, and then knock out the Bouffalant, hit the Hydreigon for 30 again, and then it would be at 60 damage. And then you would finish off the game with a Night Spear. So you're pretty much just 3 Night Spears away from winning at this point. So Joel does decide to go for the catcher. He's going to put 70 on Bouffalant, thanks to that Boofer ability. And Nathan really needs to draw something quick here. And oh, he top decks an N. That might be his key to coming back here. The only problem is that he's only getting 4 cards off of this. You know, it would be nice if he had a more established board position at this point. But he's only going to get 4 cards. He's going to put Joel down at 2, but what does Joel even need anymore? He's got 2 fully powered Darkrai's. Those are going to be enough to just Night Spear for the game. So Nathan, he's going to need some perfect cards off of these 4 in order to have a shot at this one, you know. Maybe like Darkrai, Dark Patch, Dark Max Potion. Those would be 4 good ones, so you could Gold Breaker here. What does he get? Yeah, he gets a Dark Patch, he gets a Darkrai, he gets an Energy, he gets a... Oh, he gets another Dark Energy. Wow, that was almost 4 perfect cards. But it will allow him to Night Spear this turn. So there's that, I suppose. He can Night Spear. He's going to attach to the Darkrai. If he can top deck another supporter next turn, that'll be big. He's going to Dark Patch to his Darkrai. Just retreat and then Dark Trance up to it. I mean, there's nothing else he can really do. If he attacks with Bouffalant, that just gets knocked out. He loses all his energy. If he leaves Bouffalant up there to get knocked out, it doesn't really do anything. So his best option is probably just going to be the Night Spear. It's only going to do 70, but what else you got at this point? He decides to target the Sableye with the 30 damage. I really think you're better off just doing 10 to Darkrai. At this point, it's probably irrelevant, but the damage on the Sableye is just kind of wasted damage that's not going to add up to anything unless Joel decides to bench another Sableye for some reason. And banking on your opponent being stupid is not really the best strategy. So you should always just put the damage where you know it's going to be useful. And now Joel, he's just going to retreat to his other Darkrai. Signifies that by just moving a damage counter since they are exactly the same Pokemon. And we're going to get a Night Spear for 90 and 30 to Hydreigon, I think. 10 to the Bouffalant's not really a good idea. So, here we go. Nathan, he needs to top deck something here, like a Max Potion or something. And nope, Dark Energy's not going to help you. So at this point, he is pretty much done for. First of all, if Joel has a catcher, it's game. Even if he doesn't, something on Nathan's board is getting knocked out. So all he can really do is retreat. Maybe his best option is just to Gold Breaker for 100. And then he's going to lose 3 energy on his Pokemon. That's best case scenario. So unless Nathan can top deck a Juniper or a Bianca next turn, he is really just in too much trouble to come back. So there we go. Here's a Gold Breaker. Does Joel have a catcher to close this one out? Let's see. Oh, he top decks the catcher. That will be the game, folks. Joel Moskow, he's going to win this 7th round here and go 7-0 at the Indiana Regional Championship. Congratulations to him. He keeps steamrolling the competition, and we'll see how he does in the later rounds. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Pooka here from the Top Cut. We have 2 more rounds to go here from the Indiana Regional Championship, and I will be right back, so stay tuned.